Hello, and welcome to the Coop and Hatch podcast, episode number 4, dude.
Four.
Number 4.
That's cuatro if you're Spanish.
Oh,
Latino.
or if you're an Audi.
Or,
Just kidding.
Or Spain.
Oh, hold up. There we go.
Better. As you can tell, I still don't have a chair.
It's a blanket, though.
I brought this really cool Triumph shirt back from London.
It is a nice shirt.
It was the same color as the chair, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like a green screen. You didn't see all you saw was my head.
Just head and like arm.
Floating.
Yeah, this is episode 4. I'm so excited. This is totally unscripted because I can't write a script for what we're going to talk about because it's mainly all about him and his travels. So with travels comes plethora of vehicles.
There's so many cars we don't get in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Sad.
You're going to hear us complain a lot on this one because, well, I mean, it's justified.
Well, let's just show them what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. So welcome to episode 4, Cars Around the World.
Thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you. We really love doing this. We like not just for us, but like the interactions that we've had with people just in the last month about this is like so awesome. The feedback's been great, and we did our first successful giveaway to the Elite Tuner car show this last weekend, and great car show, tons of variety, really unique, cool cars out there.
That was a good show. Thanks, guys, for putting it on.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, let's just hop right into, I believe we're staying in the home base of Georgia.
Yeah, recently I spent a couple days in the Atlanta area. So obviously my whole life as I go around and see different things, I'm taking pictures of cars. I love the variety you get in the different parts of the country, the different looks and styles, different cultures. One of my favorite styles to see going down, I don't know if I would ever drive one or own one, but they're super cool and I appreciate them, is the Impala there. I took a quick shot from the...
it's kind of hard to see, mainly due to lighting, but it is a donk.
That thing was rumbling too. It sounded so good, and I pulled up to a light, and there was a Mustang sitting next to it, and I thought, "Oh, we're gonna have some fun here."
Oh,
but
dude!
No, there was no trip to Mexico on that.
The crazy thing about donks is, one, they're either on a hydraulic system or an air system. But the thing that blows my mind about them is they sit so high, and they're on like 28 to 30-inch wheels. Like, these things are you could fit a turkey inside of one of these bad boys and cook it.
Super cool style, but I appreciate that. There's also a racing museum about an hour north of Atlanta that I had to go visit. A lot of fun. It was mainly famous racers from Georgia and a lot of their cars, so it was really interesting reading about one. I took a picture of a bio of a racer from the early days. And
what's early days? Are we talking like
Prohibition?
Oh, we're talking White Lightning days.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this guy was a moonshiner, and it was the first official race from this syndicate. He won first place in the race.
Wait a minute. You're talking about the first NASCAR race?
Yeah.
Like the first dirt oval race that they did?
I'll have to double check my facts on that, but
well, shoot,
that's why I'm just kind of being vague of what race it was, but it was the first race.
I mean, that's where NASCAR came from. So
yeah, he took first place, and the next day he got in a fight with his cousin over sugar.
Oh, I remember hearing about this. Yeah,
and the cousin shot him and killed him.
Yeah, it was and converted today. I believe the exchange rate, it was like it's under, I think, $2. I remember hearing this story.
So sad. I was reading that. And I'm
a lot of miscommunication, stuff like that, but it literally was like a death over $2, and he was like one of the best racers at the time. I'll have to look that up and get the info. It's a cool story. Like, it's sad, but like it's cool.
Didn't know I was going to talk about that, so I didn't read the bio before the show. But anyway, just really super cool. If you're ever in the Atlanta area, just look up the Georgia Racing Museum. Awesome. There's some really cool cars in there, spanning all decades. So
I mean, this is OG style.
Yeah, those things are
these
crazy.
things when they were making these, most of these things were made from like extra tractor parts, and people are just like, sick. Let's take this tiny little frame and take my broken tractor, put them together.
Yeah, I was looking at the suspension, the steering. You're sitting right on top of the transmission. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, crazy.
So, actually, moving to London. As I was driving around, I made my coworker back up to take a picture of this AMG. That's one of Matson's favorite Mercedes.
Oh, I owned one of these. Not this, obviously. I had the grandpa version of this thing, and I wish I understood it at the time, but it's a Mercedes 190E, so it's one of the smallest Mercedes that you can get, but like back in like the 80s to like early 90s, freaking coolest bad guy car in the world. Like the 190E Evo 2 is by far one of the coolest vehicles ever created.
And next to that, I saw one of my favorite Mercedes. It's the coupe. Matson's name.
Coupe?
Yeah, the convertible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not the convertible, the coupe.
Yeah. The long one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's 300 CD.
Mm-hmm.
Matson's namesake owned one of these when I was in my early 20s. He lived in Utah and wanted to sell it. We thought we could get more money for it down in San Diego, so he drove it down, and I had it for 2 or 3 months. Interesting, we got more calls from people in Canada about the car than we did people in San Diego.
What was your basis on trying to sell? It's not like you guys had like Craigslist or eBay. Just take pictures and throw them in magazines, or
Auto Trader. Stick it in the Auto Trader.
Yeah, I mean those are still going, so there's gotta be I guess there's the original one for you.
Yeah, but it turns out that you can at that time you could import cool cars from the U.S. to Canada, but they had to be over a certain age, and so that's why it got so much attention. Was that it was a super cool car, the 300 CD coupe. I loved it. A fun car to drive. Slower than slow. It wasn't built for speed.
No, those things were heavy.
So that when I saw that,
did it end up going to Canada?
No, I came back to Utah because
well, there you go.
Didn't get the price.
So essentially, you had a really good friend let you borrow a really cool Mercedes for 3 months.
Yeah, I drove it around for a little while. Well, I didn't drive it every day.
Cool.
Obviously, it was his car, but
you would have had the Jag at that point too.
I did. I'll have to find the picture of the Jag. And the Mercedes together, but
that's a good picture.
Yeah. So sweet cars. Love Mercedes.
Yeah, 100%. That always have love for them.
Next one.
Oh, I love these ones. These are cool. Okay, so obviously we got a Fiat, but I believe that's in a Brath.
Yeah,
and it's a two-tone. Like that's a two-tone of Brath. You don't see that a whole ton, so that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then I'm assuming the grill is just sorry to whoever owns this. If you see the license plate, we're gonna cover it up for you. There you go.
There you go. I just took a picture of that because we have an MG, and I wasn't familiar with all the new MGs. You'll see later our rental car was an MG. But I love the grill. I thought, man, if we could somehow adapt that grill into our 72 midget, that would be cool. So that's why I took a picture of that to show Matson what that grill looks like.
So now, when we get to have more fun with the MG. So that thing's already crazy.
Yeah, it definitely made me want to move the MG up on the list because I saw a couple cool classics rolling around. But anyway, moving on.
Yep, and a Jag.
Can't pass up the Jags.
Jags are always good. Oh, this is one of the coolest freaking European cars that we don't get. And honestly, I think if it sold here, it would sell better than a GTI. It would probably sell better than most hatches, actually.
So I didn't even know about the A1. I was...
this is an Audi, by the way.
Yeah, Audi A1. When I was in Australia, it was the first time I saw the A1 hatch, two-door, and I just fell in love with the car.
How big is it? Like, what car size-wise is it? Is it more like a Mini, or is it more like a Fiat 500? Like,
it's probably about the size of a Mini. Maybe like the Clubman. I mean, they're pretty small. I mean... I am absolutely in love with this car. It would be my daily for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But I saw so many different versions of it: the convertible, the 2-door sedan, the 4-door sedan, the 2-door hatch. I just had to take pictures.
They probably have more variations of that car than we do with any car that Audi produces. Like we can get the S6, you can get the RS6, so you get a wagon version. But like what convertible Audi? I know we had an A4 convertible for a little while.
There's the A5 convertible,
but
they're just such a variety of the A1. Cool. And I've always liked smaller cars. It's just so cool. I love that that red one.
Oh yeah, that's phenomenal. I kind of I'm digging the S line personally, the two-tone one. But I mean, it's also an S line, so
yeah, definitely want the A1S hatch. That'd be the dream car.
Oh, I wonder if they make an S1 convertible. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. These are freaking cool, man. The Scirocco.
You know, when you work full time, and sometimes you just don't keep up on everything international. So I'm driving down the freeway, the M35.
Yeah.
If you watch Top Gear, you'll hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing passed us, and I was like, what the heck is that? And it's the new Scirocco.
They're so sick.
It was so cool because it was the souped up model. The thing is so fat from the back end. It's just...
Weird thing is, I don't think there's a car in the U.S. that can compare to the Scirocco currently.
Not looks-wise. It stands on its own.
It's so unique because it's a hatch, but it's a coupe, and it kind of has that, like, almost JDM Euro vibe going for it, but it's more of like an original like shootback style. So shootback is basically a condensed wagon is a good way to put it, but they're almost always two doors too.
Yeah, super cool. And the reason we have the
shoot brake style.
That 85 Scirocco up there. When I was in my 20s, had a family business. I was trying to talk my brothers into buying a company car. So we went, and the Scirocco was our car of choice. But when we went to look at them at the dealer, Truman Volkswagen on El Cajon Boulevard, I don't think it's there anymore. The GTI was faster. So it's like, why are we gonna buy Volkswagen's
sports car
when a family car souped up a little bit's quicker? So we just passed on the whole thing, and we all just bought individual cars versus a company cool car.
Hence Jag.
Hence the Jag.
You go from one Euro to the other Euro.
73 XJ12, sweet car. 73 is a little bit shorter than the 74, so that's why.
That's on the list to get another one of those and turn it into a drift car. Because, that would be so funny to see that thing full sending around a corner.
Actually, I'd rather get the coupe to turn into a drift
car.
Oh,
you need the 4-door because of the insurance, right?
Yeah, I was going to get an XKE, and I called my insurance guy, and he said, there is no way on this planet I can insure a 23-year-old kid in an XKE.
This would be the equivalent of me, at 25, going and trying to get any Jag performance vehicle,
like the C6 Corvette or the Lotus or something.
Yeah, that'd be like me trying to go get a Cary CTS-V when I'm 20. Yeah. No.
Yeah, the insurance guy. So I did get the XJ12 on the paperwork. We just put XJ 4-door. Oops, left a little detail.
No one needs to know. It's okay.
That was a fun car.
This is a really cool example of this progression, I think, in just the European styling. Is one, you go from this big boxy brick. Every single time I say brick, I want to say brick house, but
this one was way rounder than the.
But then you can see how just the complete generation swap of just not only technology, but how they started bringing aerodynamics and everything in. So it's such a good evolution. The funny thing is, it's kind of built the same though. I was looking up the specs about these. I was really curious. The base model Scirocco now is just as powerful as back in the 80s. But the R is like the stepped up. So the R is running a 2.0 turbo, puts down, I think, 275 horses, and it's all-wheel drive, and it comes in automatic. But you get a DCG, so it's like a really, really solid transmission.
That's interesting because Europe or London, England is still standard. It was hard to get an automatic rental car.
Yeah.
And the reason being was driving on the other side of the car, plus then trying to learn to
shift with your left hand,
run the gears backwards, which I did in Australia, and then also in London traffic. Just way too much going on at the same time.
I can't imagine. I feel like you'd almost need an automatic over there, and then like you'd have an automatic for a daily. I guess over there, it's a lot of public transportation, and so like cars there don't have as many miles as we get, and like they aren't driven how we drive, and so
no, you'll see that the streets are insanely narrow. And
yeah,
even up on the freeways through town, the speed limit on the freeway is like 35-40 miles an hour.
That's so
unlike
weird.
Here where you can fly through Salt Lake
at 75. That's the speed limit. Don't go faster than that.
It's posted 75, but if you're doing 75, you're going to get...
True, if you're doing 75 in Utah, you're getting ran over.
Yeah, no, you better get in...
You better get scooting.
Far right lane, drive on the shoulder.
You better just take a whole nother road. Get out of there.
It was funny because we were talking to one of the people we met about driving in Utah versus driving in London, and I was explaining that I'm going to be going to Vegas actually later today for a conference, and that it's a 5-hour drive, and he's like, 5 hours? You'd be in Scotland. You'd be
in a whole other country.
You'd be in France. And then I
talking to a friend. When you're traveling like that, you have to have your passport pretty much in your car, right?
Yeah, you definitely.
And like they just like check it and like stamp it like as a drive-through.
I've never driven through another country, but I would imagine there's checkpoints and customs.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
If you know, let us know, because, I mean, at some point, hopefully soon, we're planning on going back and doing a little bit of like a road trip, and so I would love to hit multiple countries, especially if it's 5 hours. That's like...
Yeah, well, and then I said that's also at 80 to 90 miles an hour. Once you get outside of civilization in Utah, I mean, it's just high desert, and if you're doing 80, which is a speed limit, you're getting past.
You're still getting ran over, so
I put it on 85 because 84 is about, I've passed cops sitting on the side of the road at 84. I'm not recommending it, but
don't do it.
When you have cars. Right.
If you're willing to risk the biscuit, then go for it. If you're not, then you keep the biscuit.
You're out there in high desert, wide open. You just have to watch out for the deer, and that's all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next.
Well, we gotta explain the difference, sir. There's still the base. I guess the top of the model that we got here in the States. I didn't when I was learning about this. I thought it was a more recent thing that we didn't get cool cars. It's been an always thing that we didn't get cool cars from Europe. They have a GTX model over there of a Scirocco that eats this 80s one alive, and it's pretty equivalent to the new one. And we got a 16-valve, dual overhead cam, 1.8, that its only, claim to fame is it was faster than a 944. And the 944 is the poor man's Porsche. It also was like a Porsche that wasn't even built like a Porsche. The motor's in the front. It's just weird is a good way to put it. They made a turbo. If that was faster than the turbo model, I might not want a 944 anymore.
I think that was one of the reasons we looked at it. At that time, it was one of the quicker cars out.
Oh, and the styling is so unique for any 80s car.
It was definitely a cool car.
Yeah, and they're still a cool car. I've seen a couple of these at shows, and seeing them slammed or whatever is awesome. They're great cars.
Yeah, so at that time, the other things in the market were the Maserati Biturbo was kind of in that price range. And
you told me a Maserati costs as much as a Scirocco?
Well, it was like the 944. It was the economy car.
Yeah, but that kind of was a weird European. That's the word. Era of cars, because they're they're trying to hit we're still European, but we want to sell a lot.
I mean, every company came out with a car like that. They wanted to put their badge on something. Cadillac took a Cavalier and put a Caddy badge on it with leather versus vinyl. Ferrari had the Dino. Porsche had the 924 to begin with, and then they went to the 944.
Evolved to the 944.
Yeah, so everybody was coming out with a lower end version, at least the higher end cars. And Mercedes came out with the 190.
It's kind of weird that all those lower end ones, especially now, people either hate them or they have cult followings and people love them. Like, that's why I love the 944 Turbo. Like, it's such a terrible car. I would love to own it. Like,
and the Fiero made its debut in about that same time.
That's a kit car classic. For sure.
Once the GT came out, that had some decent styling on it. So, anyway, moving on.
I love this one. It's two minis just back to back, the old school, and they're both green. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, I backed up to get that picture because
Did we ever figure out what this funny little thing in the red is?
I'm pretty sure it's a Triumph.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that because of the glare, but like it looks like a boxier MG, but the lights are have little eyebrows. Like, it kind of looks angry.
I totally forgot to look up what this little guy was. Somebody told me, I forget. I think it was a G-Wiz or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw about, I think, 4 of these going around.
It's funny. Look at the
coolest little car. It's obviously super small. It'd kind of be like the...
it's got to have it like a 1.2 in it.
Super small.
Itty bitty. Except anytime someone says G-Wiz, I think a Cheese Whiz. Yeah. So, like, if I got one, I totally would make it look like a Cheese Whiz themed car.
But, it's funny because as you're driving around, the streets are so narrow, but you go back in time. We ate at a place that was established in 1492, and when I saw that, my brain just automatically started singing the Columbus song, 1492, Columbus sails the ocean blue.
Dude, that's
and I'm thinking,
nutty.
I'm like, wait, is that right? was that Columbus's day? It's just insane. So these streets, they don't go straight. They're all curved everywhere, and they're super narrow because when they were built, it was horse and buggy and carts. So it would make sense. I remember we were going down this road and turning onto our road was a Chrysler 300, and it looked like a tank. I mean, it was huge. And I'm like, thinking at home, I don't even think twice about that car.
No, that's little here.
And we were joking about, could you imagine an F-350 dually pulling a 45-foot fifth wheel trailer?
You would take out a block.
You wouldn't fit.
No.
I mean, there were times that we had to stop and pull into kind of a parking space to let the next car get through. Everybody's just super
So
curious
essentially, it was almost like if you're going through like a canyon road, but like one of the off canyon roads when you have to like kind of slip in between each other.
Yeah, it basically should have been one-way streets where everybody just goes along. And the other super cool thing is you can park whichever direction you want. So if you see a spot over there, you just pull in. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. That was awesome.
That's actually super convenient.
Yeah. So these were just some cool cars. Of course, I could not believe the amount of Rolls Royce and Bentleys I saw. They were just
especially
everywhere.
Like older ones. I think
that's the only old one I saw.
I think the oldest one I've seen is that one that's parked. It's here in Orem, and it's a Silver Cloud. And it's parked in like not even a garage. It's like one of the carports.
Carport, yeah.
And so every single time we pass it, I'm like, that car is so cool.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the cost.
I'm amazed at how much they weigh, though.
Oh, they're huge.
Massive. They weigh probably more than that 300.
Yeah, so Bentleys and Rolls Royces were all over the place.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a big car, and I saw a lot of the SUV Bentleys.
Oh, those are super cool. Yeah, that's a super good looking car. All these like supercar, I guess the supercar SUV like thing we got going on, I'm really digging it, especially on the Lambo side. If they brought back an LM again, that the Lambo, I would, dude. Those are so sick.
Yeah, I'll show when we get to the electric cars. There's an electric car that just blew me away.
Oh yeah,
sweet.
Oh man. So there's not a title for this slide just because it's just more examples of the same stuff. But that car in the top left-hand corner is called the Alfa Romero 427, I think, or 247, one of the two. But it's basically a GTI in a cooler body, and they are so sick.
Yeah, that I saw that. The lines on that thing were just beautiful.
Aggressive.
This one had cobwebs on it, that had road rash on the rims, and a little bit of rust in a couple spots. So
I'd still buy it.
Obviously, it's not used as a daily,
but that shows,
it's so beautiful.
And it's parked on a main road, right?
Yeah.
So that just shows you like how much they don't drive their own personal cars over there. Yeah. Like, so I wonder how many cars is the average household, because here in the U.S. it's now 2 to 3. I bet it's still 1 over there.
Yeah, well, one of the issues is parking. A lot of places didn't have parking.
Well, getting your license over there is super difficult too, and like insurance is way higher and whatnot. So
yeah, I had to take a closer look at this street. I put that on there just to show you how narrow that is.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's a Jeep. That's a Golf, and that Golf is literally a third of the size of the road.
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
When you get cars parked on both sides, and then you have to fit through. But also notice there's no garages. I couldn't imagine coming home and having to find some place to park. It reminded me of like Mission Beach in San Diego. If you rent a condo down there for the summer, you have to sometimes park 3, 4, 5 blocks away.
So everyone that's living in their normal houses, for us, garages and driveways and stuff is like a standard. Over there, they're parking in their normal houses, but have parking like apartments.
Yeah, some of them have parking permits, but I understand they're a small fortune to get, parking permit for your neighborhood.
Shoot, so. Dang, that's how you know you're a bougie person over there. You're like, oh, that guy's got his own parking spot.
He's got a sticker. Doesn't mean you get a park in front of your house. It just means you
paid for a sticker.
You can park in the vicinity.
You're like, you know what? You can be within 50 feet of your house.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, that Alfa is phenomenal. They're really cool cars. I fell in love with that car probably like 3 or 4 years ago. That's a great car. So yeah, that was London. Oh yeah, dude.
I didn't see a lot of JDM cars. Occasionally a Camry. It wasn't like here in the States where every third, every fourth, every second car.
Oh, I mean, I think Toyota just recently passed up. I think it was Toyota. I have to double check this. Just passed up the F-150 for best selling car in the U.S. That's like huge. Or it was it was a Japanese brand. It was either Toyota or Honda, I think. But I mean, that's massive for here. So
the fun thing about this picture is that we have 2 of the 3 of these. So,
yeah, I like it.
I knew Matson would love the IS.
Oh, the IS 300 wagon. We all know we love wagons, especially that wagon, because a 2JZ inside of an IS, you get Lexus luxury with super power. I mean, obviously it's not boosted, but it can easily get there. So you're telling me in 2000 they made a dad wagon that cannot be replaced outside of the CTSV wagon.
True.
And then obviously Toyota GT86, same as the BRZ and the FRS, and we brought it up last, I think 2 times ago, and I'm still going to talk about it until they say it's not going to happen, the Lexus UC. I'm excited for that, because it's going to be interesting, but that is for sure on the list, though. The big white one, that's the one we don't own. That's the one I wish we owned, because the R33 Skyline, we'll have to do a full episode of just how much that car is important, because
the Skyline episode.
Yeah, no, you could do one just on the R33, because how many records that thing holds. Incredible car. But that's kind of interesting that you don't see a whole ton of like JDM over in Europe. But I mean, Europe has so many other brands, and a lot of them are powered by Volkswagens, and Volkswagens are stupid reliable. So like, why would you change when? I mean, they started in Europe. The Bug was the car of the people in Germany, and it just spread like wildfire to everywhere.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't take pictures of the Camrys or basics, but
what?
there weren't a lot, but they didn't grab my attention like.
I don't understand why not. That's the coolest car ever.
I just ran out of film.
Disappointment. You ran out of film? Oh man, shoot! I ran out of a roll. I gotta make sure. Just open her up. Click, click.
Okay, transportation. You cannot not take a picture of a double-decker bus.
Oh yeah. There's one here in Utah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's down Thanksgiving Point. Or at least it was.
And the funny thing about this is when you come out of the airport, take a taxi. I love the new modern versions of the London taxis. They're just smoother, sleeker, a little bit longer. But this blue one was like fifth taxi in line, and everything in front of it was red. I mean, not red, black. Why did I say red? Probably because I saw the red bus. Anyway, so I go up to the driver of the blue taxi. I'm like, I want to ride in your cab because it's blue. And so he had to go up the line and ask every driver ahead, hey, this crazy guy from the States wants to ride in my car because it's blue. Can
stuff
I take
like
him?
that where people are just like, they're in other countries. All we can do is apologize.
Yeah, I didn't apologize. I told him his car was the coolest.
I know, but they're thinking, all the other guys are thinking, I'm just here for a paycheck. And then you're here thinking, that's a freaking cool blue car. Screw these other three. I'm hopping in that guy. And the guy in the blue one's thinking, oh, here we go again. Now I'm going to have to ask these guys if I can get...
They were at the airport. They had plenty of people to ride.
Oh, yeah, no,
everybody said yes. So
it's still like one of those things that like they probably deal with that so much that they're like, here we go again, another American.
It's funny. Yeah, I cracked up. Anyway, so what do we have here? Oh,
ooh, the electric cars.
Electric cars.
Mm-hmm. We're probably going to be talking about these a lot. They're extraordinarily relevant, and it's probably where the future's going. So.
Yeah, this Jaguar was just absolutely beautiful. You can see, I had to take a picture of the hood because
Okay, so we were looking this thing up last night. We get the E-Pace here, but it doesn't look like that. And like, dude, look at the flares on the front of that thing, and how it like moves into the turn signal part of the headlight. That's a freaking move, dude. That's cool.
It just was a beautiful car, and I had to take a picture of the Peugeot logo because they made it a little more stylish. It used to be more like an Imperial Lion. Now it's just like sleek.
Yeah, now it's like a mean lion.
Yeah, slick.
Plus, look at the electric car. That thing looks phenomenal.
Oh, that Peugeot wagon was just insane.
Yeah, okay. Explain this, please, Peugeot. What do I need to do for you to be here? Because there's 2 cars now I need to own, and this is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful car. The lines on that thing were just...
So it's an electric wagon, yeah? It's all-wheel drive?
I didn't look at the specs.
But I mean, still, an electric wagon that looks like it could fight the new Jag wagon. That's pretty cool.
Super cool car.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's a wagon, so...
Yeah.
It gets points!
Love the wagon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're skipping to the funny side of the world.
Oh.
Australia.
Leaving London, going to Australia. I went to Australia, it's probably been over 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Still had an obsession of cars, so I see something cool, I take a picture of it. On this one, the reason I put that
picture of the tire
in there was just such a cool setup.
It's just a really unique. It's cool that it's covering the rim, but not the tire.
It just was a super cool setup. I got to show this to the family.
Mm-hmm.
But this red A1 is the first A1 that I ever saw, and I was just blown away. Such a cool car.
Oh yeah, still. And then obviously Australia is huge into almost every style of car. Like Mighty Car Mods, I believe, is out of Australia. They are super JDM heavy. They're a fantastic YouTube channel. Definitely go watch them. They have a lot of really good info, and they some of the early videos is them like literally trying to rust out a GTI, and they use like beer and like anything you can think of to try to rust it, to figure out what makes it rust faster, which is kind of cool. Like, it's just kind of weird stuff that they do, but
There's some funky, weird cars in Australia.
Yeah, but they also get really cool variants of cars that we have here, and it's kind of upsetting because they're cooler than like what we got, and it's more American than we got, and I'm like, this is going to be another one of those countries is like, what does it take and how much does it cost for me to live there? Like, just for the cars.
Yeah, they have some amazing cars,
oh, yeah,
which you're about to see.
Yeah, we're going to get real deep into one specifically because it's an icon over there. And that is Holden. Holden is the GM version of GM over there. So it's all these are running basically V8s, the same V6s we get here. It's just rebodied and really cool.
Super cool. I love their version of the El Camino.
Yeah, it's called an Ute. It's UTE.
Super cool.
And I believe there's also a Maloo, MALOO as well.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Maloos.
Yeah, those are really cool. But so essentially, this is what we're going to be talking about the most, probably just because our version of this car that we get here is the Pontiac G8. Like, that's a really cool
G8
car.
or G6?
The G8. The G6 is the pointy six-cylinder one. The G8 is that one that has little flares on it, and it has the dual scoops. Yeah. It's personally, I think the G8 should have been the new school GTO, and then the GTO that they did should have been the G8.
And isn't the SS similar as
well?
well?
Yeah, so basically it's like they have they use the SS, but they have I think it's a SSV badge, and it essentially is just a like Corvette powered G8.
Yes.
That's like way cooler.
Super cool cars.
But the fact that it's a G8 that comes in the normal sedan, you can get it in a freaking El Camino style. You can get it in a wagon. The G8's a freaking cool car in the first place, and then you do that to it.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing you're missing is a coupe.
It's upsetting. I would love to have an Ute.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, plus then you get a factory lowered car. So this is a Redline edition. These are freaking cool. Basically, it is an actual Corvette driveline, like a Z06 Corvette driveline shoved into a G8.
Yeah, super cool car. I had to go to the Holden dealer just to look at some of their higher end models.
Oh, and like, look at the quality too. That's inside of the stitching. That is leather and suede. That's a Chevy that's using Alcantara, dude. And where do we get that?
If you notice, the steering wheel's on the right side.
Yes.
Which was fun to drive. The one that I rented was the Holden. It was a V6, but it still scooted.
Mm-hmm. Was it a standard?
Yeah, it was a standard. So.
What's the hardest part when you're in there? So the standard shift pattern is still the same, but yeah, first, rather than being here by your knee, is out here.
The clutch, gas, and brake are all the same. It's just on the other side of it, and you're just pulling towards you versus pushing away.
Do you think what one do you like more?
I got used to. It just became normal. The hardest thing about driving on the other side of the road is your right turns, because you want to make a right turn into the normal lane here.
Yeah.
Left-hand turns are super easy because you just go with the flow. And so what I realized was
it's the opposite.
I have to keep the steering wheel in the center of the road and the passenger tire at the curb. That was the key for me, was learning to stay at the curb. I didn't drive. Weird. I didn't drive in London, so I didn't have to deal with all the traffic and everything. I sat in the back to be chauffeured. Yeah.
That's one of his favorite things. Like, anytime we're driving somewhere, he likes me to drive because he's like, I'm being driven around. I'm like,
yeah, drive me around. And then when we jump in the car with some of his friends, they're always shocked that I crawl in the back, even in the back of the FRS when we went to Cary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just something I like to do. But anyway,
yep.
So you just need to remember to keep the left wheel or left side of the car at the curb. Yeah, when I was in Fiji, I made a right-hand turn right in front of a big, it wasn't a semi, but a big box truck. Fortunately, it was far enough away that I didn't get squished. But anyway.
I bet that was a fun feeling.
Yeah, you'll learn real fast. Whoa.
So this is just more of just specifically the oot. One of my favorite things about it is the deck lid that they have on some of these has like a, kind of like how the Solstice had that little like bump around like the back of the passenger. Yeah. They put that in the freaking, dude, like what? And it looks boxy. Like,
yeah, super cool.
That is such a good design.
That red one's the souped up one. That's such a sick vehicle.
Yeah, there's when you came back from this trip.
That's orange.
When you came back from this trip, you brought me back a poster of the SSV. Oh, I forgot what it is. It's a special model, but it's like a track edition of one of these.
Yeah.
And that's like, these dudes track mini trucks that are Corvettes.
Yeah, super cool cars.
That's wild.
Okay.
Oh,
one thing
it's the Outback, so.
The thing I love about Australia is the funky trucks. Yeah. They have every version of any weird thing you can think of. A lot of Land Cruiser type base vehicles.
Oh yeah, I mean that's basically where they tested them. That in like South America was almost a test ground for Land Cruisers.
Probably Africa too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
in the Camel series, is what did it? That's a cool.
Yeah, you just drive around, you just see all these super cool trucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's kind of interesting that, like, I feel especially in Utah, we're getting this kind of overlander style is moving here pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a guy that imports a lot of the Range.
Oh, the guy down in Provo has all those Defenders.
Yeah, he's probably got 10 Defenders.
That's a phenomenal car. Like those are sick, especially if you can get the diesel version. This was probably like 3 years ago. I was just like watching videos of car pulls, and this diesel Defender was going up against a 3500 Dodge Cummins, and it just pulls the crap out of it. And the Dodge didn't stand a chance.
They're amazing vehicles. Yeah. So anyway, we have.
I like this one. This one with the big old like ambulance thing on the side. That's really cool.
I'd love one of those and turn it into a weekend motorhome.
Oh, dude, for sure. I bet the thing's so stable you could put a chair on the roof of that thing and just chill out and put a little awning on top, sitting on top of your ambulance.
Cool stuff.
And now, more funk.
More funk.
More funk.
So, I just sitting in the parking lot.
Pause.
Went to the store.
Why are there potatoes on the screen, sir?
England and Australia, you hear they have the blandest food on the planet, but I love their food and the pies, the meat pies. I
wish we had more stuff like that from like restaurants. Not just like I'm going to go get a meat pie and warm it up because I'm lazy and I don't want to make food type thing. Those are delicious though. But I'm like, outside of KFC, meat pies.
Yeah, it's not like the 50-cent meat pie you get at the grocery store.
No.
They're delicious. You can just see the different variety. So I had to throw this up there, but also...
We're also foodies, if you couldn't tell. So
I know this may offend some, but they do serve kangaroo as a main meat. Not as.
Okay, here's the thing with kangaroos over there. They're like rodents.
They're everywhere.
They're like considered pests.
It took me a little while to find a restaurant that served it. I had to drive like 20 miles. So I just Googled kangaroo burger. But it took me to a really cool part of Sydney. But, I had to try it. So it wasn't bad. There's a restaurant up in Layton by where your sister lives that sells every month. They have a new exotic meat of the month.
Type of meat or whatever.
So, every once in a while they'll have kangaroo there. But it's just a normal
there's a place in Park City that does the same thing. You could get shark tacos up there.
Yeah, so anyway, I just had to throw that in there. Just because the food is tasty.
We're just going to sidetrack and focus on what a kangaroo texture is like. Does it more like a cow? Is it more like a chicken?
It's a little bit gamier than beef, but
And that's kind of weird that a kangaroo is considered a rodent over there. So that means it is literally a rodent the size of a human being that could punch a human being. So,
yeah, I think the only thing coming close to that would be the New York rats that you hear about,
or alligators inside the sewers.
Yeah, alligators.
Ninja Turtles. It's the size of a Ninja Turtle,
yeah,
but made for boxing. But that does bring up the question: does that mean in Princess Bride that the RUS was actually a kangaroo?
Probably its cousin.
It's non-boxing cousin. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A kangaroo is just an RUS. Rodent. What? Yeah, rodent of unusual size. Yes.
That's what a kangaroo is.
Oh yeah.
But I would not want to box one.
No, I would, dude. Well, I'd lose. You sneeze on me and I'd die.
Anyway, they are tasty.
This is...
Sorry for all you...
Well, let's go back to the cars, because even though we are foodies...
You know, the PETA, the vegans, no offense, but, you know...
I mean, every country has their own weird thing to eat, so, like, whatever.
Yeah, Oaxaca, it was crickets.
So what's going on in this top right one? What's happening here?
I just thought it was cool. Some young people just slamming the SUV full of stuff. I just picture them headed out to the Outback.
To go box kangaroos!
I just thought, I took the picture because of the Australian lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You just shove that thing full of stuff. And
man, it's just kind of clicking, like, as we're talking about this, how much that lifestyle is, like, really impacted the States recently. Especially because of COVID. Everyone's like, I'm not staying inside. I'm selling my car, going and getting a truck and throwing a camper on it. Like,
I mean, how many spots do you see about people converting the...
Oh yeah, the freaking van life.
Yeah, that's just taken over.
So all we're doing essentially is just copying what Australia does to live.
They've been doing that forever. It was just a cool scene, and I liked it. I liked the lifestyle.
Yeah,
it would be cool just to go out.
What's up with this pick 'em up truck?
I actually took that one in Samoa. Same trip. But I just thought it was super cool. Flatbed with a snorkel and...
Is that a Hilux?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
the big flares on those things.
The external cage around the...
it goes all the way into a Nerf bar.
I mean, that thing's ready to take on the bush. But that was cool. I just...
Never know when you gotta run over a palm tree.
Yeah, you never know.
They don't have cedars and Jeeps, so they use Hiluxes and palm trees. So this was your V6 one, right?
Yeah, that was a V6.
Oh, look at the cool wing on it, though. That's sick.
Yeah, that was a super fun car.
I mean, even as a base model, that looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
dude,
it was a lot of fun to drive around.
Good job, Pontiac, Holden, GM. More of this, please.
Yeah, a lot more of that.
Big old natural flares. Good setup.
So we're moving into the cars that I rented on different trips. Like I said, the MG.
Look how big it is.
It was such a comfortable car. It was nice. Yeah, it was big, way bigger than the midget.
Yeah, what is it compared to? Like what's
just any mid-size SUV.
Like a Turog type thing?
Yeah, Turog.
Okay, like an X3 or like an X5 size on the Beamers.
X5.
X5? Oh, so it's actually like big.
It's a good size.
Okay, so it's more of a SUV than it is a crossover.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it definitely
cool.
was an SUV.
Was it all-wheel drive?
I believe so. Right. Sorry, I just sat in the back and took pictures.
I'm just here to get chauffeured, man. Like.
Sorry, I didn't do the specs on it, but
you're good. Still.
I was just happy to see them.
You know what's kind of funny is you can still see the original MG styling in the curves. Like it has that square but ovally round shape to it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a fun car.
It's cool that those cars have been around for so long, and like we haven't got to see the evolution of these, and so especially like now that we own the midget, it's cool to see like how it progressed into something like this. Like that's insane.
So
first off, look at this. This guy is a baby.
Yeah, that was a few pounds ago, a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In Hawaii, I've been there 3 times now. The first time I rented the I always get them mixed up, Challenger, Charger.
Charger's 4-door, Challenger's 2-door.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't ever remember that, but I rented the 2-door. It was the V6, but still a fun car like the Holden. You know, I was pleasantly surprised
Oh, yeah.
that it could move.
Yeah, new V6s actually can get cooking. I mean, look, a lot of cars are performance-wise are moving over to a V6 hybrid, so a lot of potential.
I couldn't find the picture of that, but I always rent from National because they have the Emerald Isle.
This is the second time you said this. At this point,
I know.
Hey, National, I think he wants to be sponsored and only have Emerald Isle.
No, just move me up to the executive aisle.
You don't have to sponsor him. He just wants to get the exec.
Yeah, move me to the exec. This trip, the lady at the counter. The thing I love about the Emerald Isle is you don't have to wait in line. You just go out, you get your car, you show them your ID when you check out, and you drive away, and you get to pick whatever you want.
You know what the funny part about this is literally the second time I've heard this, so the second time you've heard this. I've never heard someone so passionate about renting a car. That just shows you how much you've traveled, though. You're just like, I'm not sitting here to pick up a freaking Nissan Versa, bro. Give me a Mustang now.
Where did I go recently? They put us in this little tiny Korean made SUV. It's like, no, sorry. It'd be like a CRV. 3 people traveling with 2 bags each in the little CRV. Sorry, I just don't like them telling me what kind of car I get to take. And the other cool thing...
here's the thing. Imagine the cuddles.
You don't cuddle coworkers.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. That's... I'm pretty sure that's a bad HR no-no.
So, anyway, I just like to go out there and there's 10 cars like, oh, hey, I haven't driven one of those. Or, hey, this is a new model of that.
True.
In Georgia, I got the new RAV4.
So, essentially, you just get an extended test drive.
Yeah, it's like you get to go pick. So this one, the convertible was in the next level up, but they looked at how many cars I've rented, and I said, "Can I please have the convertible?"
Yeah.
I'm in Hawaii.
That's I think it's called Grabber Blue, if I remember right. That is a phenomenal color.
Yeah, that was a fun car to tootle around.
And that's such a Hawaii car too, a convertible Mustang.
Yeah, my last trip, I stole this Jeep from a friend. I didn't have to rent a car, but stole his car a couple days. And I threw that Volkswagen in there just because I just love the Manx.
Myers Manx are so cool.
Kid, and someday there's going to be one in the garage. But it's so cool. There's a company that has built some really, really clean Manx, and you can rent those as well.
Oh, you can...
Yeah, you can rent that.
It looks like we got to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Myers Manx is a super cool car. Even for when it came out, it was crazy, and the fact that they're designed to go basically in the sand dunes, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, we could outclimb almost anything in that thing just because the rear wheel drive pushing you up the hill.
Oh, and all the weight's in the rear, so you're good to go. And then obviously no doors Jeep is always. I mean, that's just an outdoor classic.
It's a no-brainer in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. Especially in Hawaii. Was there cars in Hawaii that you saw that you thought were, interesting that they were there?
No. The JDM scene's huge.
That kind of makes sense, because, they're kind of in the middle, so...
Yeah, it's cheaper to import.
Yeah.
You don't have to ship it the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But a lot of JDM, and again, a lot of smaller cars. They do have bigger...
You were just recently in Hawaii, right?
About a month ago.
What was I remember you came back and we were talking about how many Slam trucks were there, right?
Yeah, the truck scene's
that seems kind of surprising to me, because all I hear about from Hawaii is how bad the roads are, and I'm like, Slam trucks aren't exactly comfortable.
The roads aren't that bad,
but they're not all potholy like all the memes say.
There's a few, but yeah, it's not bad. I mean, but when you travel everywhere.
True. I bet it's better than cobblestone.
Yeah, definitely better than
Can you imagine a Slam truck on cobblestone? Oh, you would not have a truck. You would have Lego pieces.
No, so next.
I think this is our last one. I think this is the first car I ever remember us renting.
Yeah, Mariah there in the picture. She said she wanted to drive through the redwoods.
And oh my gosh, this is all clicking now. This is when the Charger first came out. And Mariah was obsessed with these. The green Daytona. I think she talked about the green Daytona for easily bare minimum 5 years after this. And I still talk to her about it. That's how impactful this car was.
Yeah, so we rented it. We went up to visit friends in Bend.
Bend, Oregon.
And then we shot over down the coast, and
we hit the one all the way down almost.
The whole trip was so Mariah could drive through this tree.
Yep. Yep. We ended up doing it, and I believe the tree recently fell down. Actually, that's so sad. That's like super sad, actually.
She might be mad at me, but she and I made another trip, just the two of us, where we drove the whole. We needed to go see our friends in Bend, and then there was a big car show in San Diego, so I took Mariah.
Got it. Hold up. Bend, Oregon to San Diego for a big car show.
Well, we were going to Bend to visit friends, and then I wanted to go to the car show.
Yeah, but the fact that that's part of the plan that's a good day trip, dude.
Oh no, it was like 3 or 4 days. No,
That's so okay. This is literally what like our life has been though. So and it's like
rent a car and just go.
Just freaking go for it.
Mariah could drive at that point, and she'll probably be mad at me for saying this, but she actually hit the tree. Boom. just a little bit. She didn't knock it over. That wasn't why it fell. But years later, when it fell,
I don't know, man. If you bump something with a Charger, that's a big car. That's a 300.
Yeah, you can see how well it fit through that tree.
Yeah, barely.
Anyway, so no damage to the tree, no damage to the rental car.
And I think this is probably one of my earlier car pictures too that I've like taken. I guess someone took of me with cars, that was a good trip. That was a solid trip.
This one, that car was first out, so it was fun to take it and drive it that far. This one was the V6 as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a rental, so you're not gonna get a V8. I mean, I think everyone kind of learned their lesson when the Hertz Mustang came out on not to give out high performing cars. Just cause, we're already on the subject. It's a pretty recent. Not recent. It's probably like 2000. Because they did the new Hertz one. Was it the old one? It was the first. It was the first Hertz Mustang, right?
Yeah, because what people were doing was they were renting the Hearst edition, and then they were swapping the motors, so they could have a high performance motor, and they would just throw a junkie.
They would go rent it for like 2 days, pull the entire driveline and shove it in their Mustang and put the base like V8 in there, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Why are these things slow?" Like, can you imagine being the insurance adjuster on this?
Yeah, that had to be in the early days because you couldn't do that now with all
with the VIN swaps and everything like that. Like
so, anyway, so yeah, but there are occasionally you'll find a supermodel. On one of my trips to Switzerland. I got to the counter and I was looking at the cars available chart, and the smart car was a car you could rent. That's kind of a
I guess the last question is, what's your favorite car you've driven in what country? Like what one's like oh man, I would do that again?
Oh, by far the Holden in Australia. It's such an iconic car. And the fact that it wasn't the SSV, it still didn't matter.
And it's still cool.
Yeah, you could see the one, and it had the spoiler. I mean, it was just a nice...
I should have seen it coming. That's what you have the most pictures of, but like, it's still...
Yeah, honestly, most trips is just some average 4-door, mid-size.
You have one last announcement. I did put it up on the Instagram, but I want to put it in the into this as well. We are giving away 2 tickets to the NRX races here in Utah, and we're covering the cost of the tickets. It's going to be in a seated area. You're going to have we're going to be going with you. It's for 2 days, the 24th and 25th of this month, and all you have to do is all the standard stuff: subscribe, comment, share, and like we'll go based off of this YouTube video. And the posts that go along with this. So, and again, there's no purchase needed. And if you guys need a ride out there, we've got plenty of cars that have 4 doors, so we can drive you out there. You can just hang out with us for the day. If you want to go do your own thing, that's totally cool too.
And if you don't want to hang out with us, that's cool. Just come sit next to us and pretend we don't know each other. Yeah. And if you're like, nah, these guys they're weird, don't like them, then you know what?
you still got to go to a race for free. So
yeah, so
that's definitely not a bad thing. NRX racing is track inspired rally racing, essentially. Like there's a 30-foot jump in this thing.
Yeah, these are so fun to watch.
Yeah, they're crazy to watch. They're basically just bumper cars.
What kind of cars? Like the Volkswagen all-wheel drive turbo Beetle.
The R-Line Bug is up in there. The Ford STs were in there for a while. The NRX line is a little bit different. But I mean, pretty much any rally car that's newer is going to essentially be there. But
so we'll see probably quite a few teams running Subaru. So
yeah, I think we'll probably. I don't know if Scott Speed and Sandell are coming, but they actually are the driver of those pictures up there. Super awesome guys. But yeah, I'm excited to take someone out there. I would actually love to do like a probably a mobile podcast with whoever wins and just get like their point of view. Especially if you haven't been to a race, we'll do it afterwards. What your thoughts are, like how crazy it is, or if you have gone to different races, like what style you like more. So and that's completely dependent on whoever wins. If you want to do that with us, we're happy to do that. I think we just want to get more people into the lifestyle that we live, just because honestly it's really fun. And if we can share that with anybody and kind of, I guess, make a car enthusiast into like a car dedicated person, I'm all down for that. So
yeah, no doubt. Anyways, so
time to get scooting.
Time to get scooting.
Driving
to Vegas for the rest of the week.
Yep. But right on, guys. You have a great Wednesday. We love you, and we sincerely mean it. And hit us up if you guys have any questions, suggestions, and yeah, again, just like, subscribe, share, and all that jazz to chance to win the tickets. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
See ya.